to the Daily Ascent. I'm Molly Carmel, and this is the podcast I always wish existed. A bite sized, on the ground spiritual note that can shift your thinking and your outlook on life. Because sometimes that's all it takes, a small shift in what we choose to believe to make our day a little better and to make us a little more awake, alive, and ascending. So today, I want to talk about something that has been a big part of my healing, continues to be a big part of my healing. I think you'll relate. And it's what it means to really honor my body, honor our body, honor the body. So I have struggled with eating disorders my entire life since about the age of 4. And in these years, they've taken on lots of different shapes and sizes and personalities. Overeating, undereating, excessive overexercise, body checking, you name it, I got it. I'm just a little cornucopia of all the eating things. And luckily I have had, pretty significant long-term recovery for 16 years. And like a lot of things in recovery, the compulsion always turns on me. Like always turns on me. And when it comes to this relationship I have with overexercise and compulsive overexercise, I mean, back in my, really intense eating disorder days, I injured my shoulder so much that the doctor asked me if I played baseball because I had like a pitcher's injury on my shoulder. And so I have some pretty long-term injuries that are, basically my body's way of saying, girl, please stop trying to punish me. And I have a pretty solid hip injury. And this hip injury flared up really badly for me this past January. And it had me sidelined from exercise for almost 8 months, which was wild. Because for someone who used to get her worth and her high off of being the first one and last one out at the gym, it was no small thing to not work out except for walking my dog for almost 8 months. And now that I'm old, I have some, I just come with a little bit more humility, I hope. And so when I finally eased back into working out, I went to one of my favorite like treadmill-based fitness classes, like everyone in their like matching sneakers and lights low, music thumping, energy high. I love a group work. I love a circle of anything almost, but I love a group workout class. And I love that environment. I love the push. I love the sweat. I love the community. I love the music. Like it's just my jam. But again, like I have been injured so many times and never really sidelined like 8 months. So I knew that humility had to be like front and center, which was so hard in that environment. But I knew I had to be a real loving grown up to myself. And I knew that I had to honor my body and not like this fantasy of what I wanted to be or what the girl next to me was running at, whatever, So I just did me. It was so hard. I kind of walked while everyone else was running and saw what they were doing and just understood that I couldn't do it, but I really, really stayed steady. And then about 40 minutes into the 50-minute class, my hips started to ache and I had to make this incredibly brave decision, which was to stop the class and walk out. And like, I could have pushed through and I promise you there was a part of me that was like, come on, Mal, it's just 10 more minutes. Like, come on, like that whole hustle culture that is really, I think, like embedded in me from, I don't know, just from breathing the air here in America and diet culture. And I said to her, so I looked at the instructor and I was like, I'm like an injured cockroach. I'll be okay over here. And she asked me about my injuries. She was very, very sweet about it. And, and so I just kind of walked out of the class and the instructor looked at me. And this is what I would call like a God wink, sort of when the universe is looking down on you and gives you a solid. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, good for you that I was walking out. And you know what? Like it actually did feel good. It felt really esteemable. It felt like I was like really making amends to myself for the times that I pushed myself through and got really chronic injuries. It was really like new me who this. And the next morning, I woke up without pain, which was incredible because that wouldn't have happened if I had finished that class or pushed myself through that class. But honestly, more than that, I woke up with this like very quiet pride, which was amazing. And it was like I kind of had chosen myself. And so, you know, sometimes growth looks like slowing down. And there is a pocket reader. We're doing a pocket sage today. And this is a reading from For Today, which is one of the daily meditation books from Overeaters Anonymous, which is a 12-step program that I really love. And it's for people who are struggling with compulsive food and body behaviors. And this is from May 28th. Here's the line. If I listen to my body with patience, it tells me what it needs. I used to treat it as an enemy, demanding that it look and perform a certain way. Today, I can learn to cooperate with it, to nurture it, to be its friend. Let me get it for those of you in the back, because this one you got to really listen to a few times if you struggle with hustle culture, for sure. If I listen to my body with patience, it will tell me what it needs. I used to treat it as an enemy, demanding that it look and perform a certain way. Today, I can learn to cooperate with it, to nurture it, to be its friend. Ugh, that line, to be its friend, like it lands in my bones, you know? For most of my life, my body and I were like sworn enemies. I saw it as something I should manage, manipulate, control. Certainly didn't occur to me till much later in life that, it was something to care for and collaborate with and listen to. I mean, that really came in my 30s. And I guess that maturity and recovery has really taught me this sadly radical idea that my body isn't here to perform for me. It's here to partner with me. And when I finally listened to that, when I finally started partnering with my body, which, is very recently, within the last 10 years or so, when I stopped before I would re-injure myself, like when I walked out of that class instead of pushing through, I don't think that was weak. I think that was being in right relationship with my body, right? And to honor the body means sometimes to step out of the old game, the one where pain equals worth and speed equals success. I mean, that's true sometimes. It really depends. It just depends on your body and your metrics and really what your motive is deep inside. For me, it's about stepping into something a little bit more sacred with my body and something really sustainable. And for me, it means slowly but surely and very imperfectly letting go of that conventional cultural push harder, grind harder mentality that I really think is like forever chemicals in my body. I really do. It's very, we're not responsible for our first thought, but we are responsible for our first action. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, my first thought is, well, what can I do more? How can I do more? How can I get this way? Right. But when I can get calm and breathe on it, I can see, I don't want to be that way. Right. That drive lives deep in my nervous system and in the fight flight part of my nervous system. And that part of my nervous system says that I can only survive through striving. So every time we choose to rest when we could grind, every time we listen to what's true when we could really override it, we're unlearning something that never really served us anyway. And that's what healing really is, right? It's not about never slipping or never getting injured again or never, cranking up to a faster pace than I really can do, right? It's about choosing to show up with more care, with more courage, and with more consciousness than before. So today's word of the day is honor. To honor means to regard something as worthy, to treat it with reverence and respect. And today I'm giving you this bold and brave invitation to honor your body, not just for what it can do, but more so for all that it survived. Honor the pain, the healing, the resilience, honor the way it's carried you through battles you didn't even know you were fighting. And I want to ask you, where in your life could you choose to honor your body or yourself instead of trying to prove something? And what might open up if you did? What might open up if you did? Because that's what it felt like when I was walking out of that class. It didn't feel like failure, it actually felt like freedom. And that's what I wish for you. So remember, real growth doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes it looks like slowing down or stopping altogether or walking out of the class or not even going to the class, taking the hit on the cancel charge. But remember this, every time you choose to honor yourself instead of abandon yourself or go with a culture that isn't working for you in the moment, that's progress and that's healing. So until next time, I'm here with you, rooting you on through the chaos and through the still. See you next time.